And that goes into our next topic because I just don't want to be sitting, I'm sorry, in January watching Carson Wentz. I don't have any interest in it. Like, it's not, and to be fair, Taylor Heineke's dead on. There, Mark, I have no doubt that the Commanders were robbed 2 weeks ago against the Giants. They were. They should have won that game. They didn't. That didn't happen, and that's fair enough. The Giants won the game. There needs to be a sky judge involved there to try and sort that situation out. In that situation, which could cost the team its season. I think it's shocking. But they need a spark now, and Ron Rivera has said this week that they need a spark. Do you believe that Carson Wentz, when he plays against is it the Browns this weekend, that he is going to give this team the spark that it needs? Because, excuse me, because for me it's just not. I just don't see what he can do. I actually, do you know what I'm just going to say? The Browns will beat the Commanders this weekend. Like, that's the stage I'm at now. You've got some players, right? It's Scary Terry for a start, Dotson, but you need to have a more efficient quarterback. It's weird because Heineke is hot and cold as much as Katy Perry. I just Carson Wentz is not taking this team to the postseason, or if they get to the postseason based upon the run that they've had and they edge out over the next 2 weeks, they'll go one and done. Please feel free to convince me otherwise. Rant over.
It's crazy how similar this conversation is to when we talked Mike White and Zach Wilson only a couple of weeks ago, isn't it? And I'm going to be on the same side of the fence there that I am now. The former number 2 overall pick, I wasn't interested in him. I wanted to go for the guy that is after really earning it, and getting to the field somehow, and it's Taylor Heineke. Look, he wasn't finishing drives as of late. The numbers will show they were stalling big time in the red zone, but at the end of the day, the team rallied around him all season, and or as soon as he got in there, fans rallied around him. And talk about a storyline we talked about. Like, I feel like we're sitting here in the middle of August again, talking about what will Carson Wentz bring to this Commanders team. Now, at the beginning of the year, what was it? In the first 2 games, that offense put up 55 points. In the next 4 weeks combined, it was like he put up 47 points. So maybe they're thinking, okay, he proved that he can literally be a spark for a couple of weeks. And then, I don't know, maybe Heineke comes in the Reds or in the playoffs again, like we saw when he played Brady and almost knocked him off. So maybe the hope is that because Wentz has been off now with injury, that his arm is better, that his legs are a bit better. I mean, his legs aren't going to be better than Heineke, because the one thing Heineke was able to give you was his mobility allowed him to get out of sacks. But when it comes to Wentz, he should be a bit stronger. And look, when we break it down, Carson Wentz did come into this offense this year. When he went to Indianapolis, it was obviously familiarity with the coaching staff there. So when he went to Indianapolis, it wasn't so much of a jump to when he had to come into Washington and learn a new offense. Maybe the time off, he did study the offensive playbook a bit more and can make more of an impact with it. But when I saw him come in the other day, he was rusty, and it was good to see him shake off the rust as the game went on against the 49ers. But what I paid attention to was the ultra that we probably talked about, you and me, Michael, back week 3, week 4, of who was his favorite target, because he's a real clicky guy, and it was Curtis Samuel. So when you look at when he came in for 2 drives, and let me pull up the numbers: 12 of 16, 123 yards, 6 targets to Logan Thomas, 3 targets to Curtis Samuel. How much does Terry McLaurin get, the playmaker that suddenly came back onto the pitch when Taylor Heineke came on? He only had 1 target. And that was Carson Wentz's problem, that he isn't getting the ball into the best players' hands. And that's going to frustrate the hell out of Washington fans when, come the fourth quarter game on the line, they start booing and hissing because Terry McLaurin has only received, the ball for 10 yards in the whole game. That's what I'm worried about with Carson Wentz, that the offense, he's one of the most, like, dictating quarterbacks, that he just cannot spread it around further than certain guys that he likes. I don't know the impact now that John Dotson will have in the game with him back in when they have to work together. So it's like he just changes everything that Washington would be doing, and it's like it wasn't all to do with Taylor Heineke. Now I feel like it's all going to be to do with Carson Wentz. So just as they get reinforcements with, like, the likes of Chase Young coming back, and he had a promising return, it's like I feel like it's all for nothing, because I just don't think he can win games with Carson Wentz.
Michaela, I'm actually surprised that Chase Young's come back because I thought at this point of the year that he wouldn't. It's funny, like, in that sense. Do you think this is a situation where Carson Wentz comes in on Sunday, plays okay for 1 quarter, starts to struggle in the second, and by midway through the second quarter, there's booze, and Rivera puts Taylor Heineke on? Would that be the most Washington thing ever to happen? Because I just feel like that's going to happen, if not this week, next week. It's like, come on, like
Yeah, it is. I'm honestly so fed up and annoyed of listening to this Washington quarterback carousel, and also the same with the Jets. The Jets is a little bit more interesting because Zach Wilson's just more new, but I don't understand why everybody sees when Taylor Heineke went in. I think we talked about it when he was starting to start when Carson Wentz got injured, and I think he had a good couple of games, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, like he's gonna be, he's great. We love him." And I'm kind of like, he's not getting anywhere. Like he'll be gone in a couple of games. They'll bring Carson Wentz back in because Heineke won't be good enough. And then I think it's going to be the same thing for Mike White. Everyone's really excited about Mike White. I think he had that amazing game when Zach Wilson was first out, and then he was brutal for the rest of the season. But after he had that first good game, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, like he's going to give Zach Wilson a run for his money." And I'm kind of looking at Mike White and I'm looking at Taylor Heineke, and I'm like, they're not going to be the franchise quarterbacks for either of those teams. So everyone don't hype it up. They're going to play like one or two good games, and then they're just going to be bad, and then they're going to have to bring in the other quarterback that they have sitting there. But Taylor, like the only guy that I think is going to be good that people didn't expect to be good is Brock Purdy. I think Brock has been consistently good for however he's played. He's beaten the teams. I think and hope he's going to be the underdog story. But I'm saying it now, Taylor Heineke and Zach White and those guys, they're not. They're just not franchise quarterbacks. So yeah, I don't know. Like, what happened is Carson Wentz will probably. I don't know if he's going to struggle or he's too inconsistent to say for sure. I just know he's never probably going to be a franchise quarterback again. I know that for certain. So yeah, they'll probably switch between the two of them for the rest of the season. But then next year, what are they going to do? Like, surely they're like they have a lot of talent on defense. They have a good they have good talent on offense as well. I really hope they stop wasting their time with these two. Like, I know, in fairness to them, they only brought in Carson Wentz this year to try and see if they can get anything out of him. But it looks like they're going to have to go to the drawing board again on quarterback, and they'll probably bring in someone brutal again, like Daniel Jones or Baker Mayfield, whoever's there in free agency. They're just going to be looking for a
I just
quarterback for
love that
ages, I
Michaela
think.
called Baker Mayfield brutal. Or that's fantastic.
Oh my god, yeah, I did. No, he's just inconsistent. So I know he's gonna be okay now at LA, and then he's gonna go to the Commanders, and then he's just gonna be really bad, and then he's gonna leave.
It's funny, yeah, because Taylor Heineke was on the commercials for next year's season tickets for the Commanders, so that'll be interesting to see what happens there.